Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargav. Welcome to Tidbits on Business and Finance with me. Vijay Mallya, India's one and only one king of good times, is back in the news. A London High Court dismissed his petition challenging his extradition to India, and his extradition to India had been upheld by a senior district judge in London under an order in December 2018. His next option now is to appeal before the Supreme Court of the UK within 14 days. But that's not going to be easy. And that's because he can appeal to the Supreme Court only if the High Court certifies that there is a point of law, there is a constitutional point in his case which can be debated and which needs some kind of an appeal. Thus, it is now contingent on the Supreme Court and the High Court in tandem whether he has any further legal options available in the United Kingdom. He can file an appeal before the Supreme Court within 14 days' time. He also has an option to file a case before the European Court of Human Rights, but that would be creating a huge controversy which may not succeed in this case because the direct charge against him is of committing financial crimes. The Enforcement Directorate was elated. It said that if everything goes well, Mallya can be in India within the next 28 days. CBI was also extremely delighted. It said that this was a significant achievement in its fight in bringing back fugitives like Mallya to India. Mr. Mallya was, of course, naturally disappointed. He said that he would be pursuing whatever options that his legal team advises him. But he pointed out and he said that he does not owe 9,000 crores to banks in India. He said that what he owes is a sum of 5,000 crores towards principal amount, 1,200 crores towards interest thereon. And he said that he has already paid 50% of the principal amount. It's worth noting that it was only last week that an insolvency court had given a favorable order in London in Mr. Mallya's favor, saying that it is too early to pursue a case trying to declare him bankrupt. A clutch of banks led by SBI have been seeking to declare him bankrupt so that they can attach all his assets and recover the bank dues. But the insolvency court said that Mallya has got petitions pending before the Karnataka High Court and Supreme Court in India, and there seems to be merit in those petitions. Those petitions must be dealt with before an insolvency petition or case is brought against him in a London court, and thus it gave him good reprieve. But this court of the London High Court certainly was a major setback for Mr. Mallya. At this stage, let us look at the chronology of events to understand what is the case against Mr. Mallya and what are the crimes that he has committed. It was sometime in May 2005 that Vijay Mallya, the liquor baron, set up Kingfisher Airlines. Between 2005 to 2010, thanks to his massive connects at the highest levels in India, banks copiously funded him in a very unworthy manner. That included a loan of 2,000 crores given by banks to him in November 2009, in which IDBI was one of the lenders to the tune of 900 crores, and that is where allegations of frauds started against him. By November 2011, Kingfisher Airlines had become the second largest airline in India, and all seemed to be hunky-dory. It seemed to be doing very well. But suddenly in October 2012, the airline closed. In other words, it was not doing as good as it was shown to be. Something was seriously wrong. In 2013, the airline license of Kingfisher to operate an airline was cancelled by the government. And at this point of time, banks started hounding Vijay Mallya for repaying the loans that they had given him. Mallya, among other things, had given his personal guarantee, guaranteeing the loans given to banks, and thus banks were demanding that he in his personal capacity repay all those loans to banks for the simple reason that he had enough assets to repay those loans. Mallya was defiant. His stand was that Kingfisher Airlines closure has been a business failure, and thus banks must be considerate. They must be willing to negotiate write-off of loans so that he doesn't pay the full amount. He pays the amount only after a substantial haircut. Banks were not moved. To say again, he had enough assets and they could not have compromised. Sometime in early 2016, banks approached the Supreme Court seeking its intervention, trying to see that Mr. Mallya pays back the loans that he has taken in full. Sometime in March 2016, Mr. Mallya fled away from India. It was in early 2017 that an extradition notice was issued against him. The Indian government asked the UK authorities to send him back to India to face trial here. In April 2017, Vijay Mallya was arrested by the Scotland Yard and he was released only on a bail of £6,50,000 worth of surety. He challenged this entire case of extradition in courts in UK, but in December 2018, the senior district judge at Westminster, London, ruled against him. She said that there was a prima facie case of a crime committed by him in India. She called him a flamboyant playboy billionaire who had managed to charm and cajole bankers to give loans to him, and that these loans, according to her, had been given in contradiction of the laws of India, and thus a crime had been committed, a crime of fraud had been committed, a crime of money laundering had been committed, and she ordered that he should be extradited to India. The then Home Secretary immediately ordered his extradition, but by then, Mr. Mallya had challenged this order of the district judge in the London High Court, and that is the order that has come now. So, what was the order of the London High Court dismissing Mr. Mallya's petition and ordering that he should be extradited to India? The London High Court in its order says that there is a prima facie case of fraud against Mr. Mallya and that this fraud has been committed through false representation. The court further says that he has been party to a conspiracy to default, and this conspiracy took place because of loans given to Kingfisher Airlines despite its weak financials, negative net worth, low credit rating, and not meeting the bank's policy requirements under which it could have been given these kind of loans. The court also said that there is a prima facie case against Mr. Mallya of money laundering. He took bank loans and he laundered the money away to tax havens through shell entities. The court further says that he has indulged in false representation in respect of even equity infusion that he had promised to bring into the company. It further said that loans were given to him despite security being very symbolic. Security, the court said, was grossly inadequate and highly overvalued, and that this was all done to mislead the banks. The London High Court further says that Kingfisher Airlines gave fraudulent financial statements of projections and forecasts which were not genuine, and all this means that he has committed a crime to defraud banks in India. The London High Court further says that his later conduct very clearly shows that there was an intent to defraud. Thus, the High Court came down very heavily on Mr. Mallya and clearly says that he has committed crimes in India and he must be sent back to India. So, what is the larger picture which is emerging in this entire episode, or what are the key points here? According to us, Mr. Mallya is being singled out. We are not saying that because he is innocent. He certainly seems to have committed crimes in India. But then, why are other such defaulters not being pursued with the same zeal? How do we see the likes of Vadvans roaming around? How do we see that the Sandesaras of Sterling Biotech have not been given the same treatment which he's been given? We do not see such a situation happening for so many other willful defaulters in India. And thus we think that he is being singled out. Every other willful defaulter, fraudulent borrower in his kind of a case must be given such a treatment, which we think is missing. The second is, Mr. Mallya has become the poster child of default in India, but according to us, he is the poster child of all that ails banks in India. Here was a very well connected borrower. Here was a borrower who borrowed in a very undeserving manner, but senior most bankers were willing to do what he wanted. Here was a borrower who had connects with the highest in the land, whether in the banking system, whether in the bureaucracy, or whether in the government. And that is how thousands of crores were given to him in an undeserving manner. He is the poster child of all that has been wrong with Indian banking and the mountain of NPAs that got created in the process. According to us, the rule of the land, the law must prevail. The law must prevail such that these kind of borrowers are certainly punished, but even all the lenders who indulge in this kind of irresponsible lending must also be punished. And thus, along with Mr. Malia, must be punished the erring bankers, the auditors who've certified financial statements which have been found to be wrong, the valuers who valued the brand to be worth thousands of crores against which banks were willing to give loans, and most importantly, the man who sat at Delhi, perhaps the Neta or the top bureaucrat, under whose shelter the likes of Mr. Malia managed to defraud the system. We think that is the larger picture, and we think that is what we must be driving towards. Let no impostor or fraudster or delinquent criminal be spared as we seek to punish Vijay Mallya, who has become the poster child of all that has been wrong with India's banks and banking system. This is Akhilesh Bhargav signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.